Hi everyone. Happy Halloween. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Ooh. Today I'm actually going to be doing sort of a October book haul for you guys. Just going to be talking about some of my favorite fall books that I've been reading this past month. First two books I'm going to be talking about are both by Ray Bradbury. One of them is From the Dust Returned and the other one is The Halloween Tree. Oh, so these two books were actually recommended to me by a YouTuber. Her name is Darling Desi. You guys probably know her. She's super aesthetic. She's super gorgeous. She has like such like the cutest like fall vibes, like, and all of her like October videos are so good. So I'm gonna link her down below. Thank you for her recommending these to me. This one I've actually read, and this one I haven't read yet, but I'm going to read tonight. So let's wait on that one. But this, it's called From the Dust Returned, obviously. The way that Desi described it is sort of like the Addams Family, I guess. But for me, I think it's sort of like, I could say the Addams Family, but it's like the Addams Family, the Munsters, and also sort of like Hotel Transylvania, if you guys have watched that movie. There's like this really cool scene where it has like all of the relatives of the it's like a haunted house. It has all of the like creepy relatives come over and they have this like haunted Halloween party, and it's just really cool. Like they have, you know, all these different monsters, and there's like vampires, and there's this guy who has like these giant wings that like can fly, and there's like witches, and the main character of this story is like this little boy who's a human, and so he sort of is trying to figure out like how he fits in with the rest of the family, which is like really cool. But however, even though he's the main character, I think the standout character in this book is this witch who's the little boy's cousin, and her name is Cece. Is it Cece? Yeah, I think it was Cece. She has like this power where she can like teleport into other people's minds. She can teleport into anything. It doesn't even have to be a person. It can be like a frog, a plant. She can teleport her mind into a puddle. Like if she teleports into a person, she can kind of like control them, and it's just like so cool. Like reading those parts of the book with Cece in them where she teleports into stuff is like the best parts of the entire book. It just makes you want that power. It feels like if you are like teleporting into all these different things, and it's so awesome. You need to read this book, okay? Even if it's just like for the parts with Cece in it, it's worth it, all right? I definitely recommend this. Next book that I have that was recommended to me by Darling Desi was The Halloween Tree. So this is by the same author, which it's a very short book in comparison to the other one. But Darling Desi actually recommended, well, she didn't really recommend this, but she says that this is what she does, so I wanted to do what she does because I would like to be her. She says that she reads this book every Halloween on Halloween, and so I'm like, that's what I want to do too. So yeah, I'm planning on reading this right after I do this video, and right after I eat all this candy that's in this bowl. I'll read you guys like a little, the little summary on the back if you guys want to hear it. Let me see. On Halloween night, 8 trick-or-treaters gather at the haunted house by the edge of town, ready for adventure. But when something whisks their friend Pip away, only one man can help the boys find him. Join the sinister Carapace Clavicle Mounds Shroud as he takes them on an unforgettable journey through space and time, deep into the mysterious of the spookiest of all nights. The other cool thing about this book, even though I haven't read it yet, is that I've looked through a few of the pages, and it has really cool, like, spooky art. I mean, look at this. You can see that. It's got, like, that really creepy, like, dark art style. If you guys have read the Spiderwick Chronicles, you remember how it has sort of, like, that, like, dark, creepy art that sort of just, like, enhances your experience with the story? I feel like that's what this reminds me of. Also, Neil Gaiman, he does that too with a lot of his books. It's like he has this author, I forget his name. I mean, not this author, this illustrator. I forget his name, but he like illustrates all of Neil Gaiman's books. He illustrated the pictures in Coraline, and he always does like those really cool, creepy, like black and white art pictures, and it sort of reminds me of this. That just it just makes the whole book so much creepier, and I love that. I love books like this. So I'm gonna read this right now. Okay. Next, The Tales of Beedle Bard. I actually got this at a garage sale for like, I think I got it for free, so if you can get this book for free, I recommend doing so. This whole book, it's really short, but it's a really good read, especially during fall time, I feel. It has sort of like a little bit of a dark academia kind of a vibe to it, And I guess that's because the whole book, it's written like as if it's supposed to be like a little school textbook almost. So it's like written almost like as a collection of short stories, or as a collection of like fantasy stories for the students in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. So kind of like how like English students,
Yeah, so take a shot every time I say like in this video if you want to get drunk, okay?
today, like in our world, read like fairy tales like the Grimm brothers fairy. The cool thing that makes this book even more of like that academic kind of vibe is that after each short fantasy story or whatever, it has these sort of like excerpts by oh my god, not Gandalf. I'm an idiot. I'm so sorry. Harry Potter stands do not come for me. Dumbledore, by Dumbledore. So after each story, it's sort of like these excerpts of Dumbledore talking about the meaning of each story, sort of like the origins of each story, sort of like what the lessons or takeaways, morals of each story is supposed to be, and sort of like how it relates to our modern culture, why the stories have progressed, and why they are still with us in this day and age. It's really cool. It's almost like Dumbledore is giving you like an English lesson. I swear, I'm like, is he one of my English teachers? I'm an English major, so this is just like what we do every day in class, is just like read stories and then talk about like their origins and meanings and stuff like that. So I'm like, oh my god, I feel like he's my professor. Now, we're going to be sort of steering off a little bit in a different direction and moving towards some poetry by Emily Dickinson. I was inspired to get this because this semester I'm taking a poetry class. I used to love poetry a lot when I was younger, but then I sort of fell out of it. And I saw this at Barnes & Noble for $8, and I was like, I'm jumping on that train, okay? Cool thing is they actually have like a bunch of these different little poetry books with these covers that are $8 at Barnes & Noble right now. So if you want to get some poetry books like this with the cover and everything, I recommend that you go and check those out, because I don't know if they're on sale or if they're just, you know, new books, but they have a lot of these. The cool thing about this is that it's a collective work, so it has like a bunch of Emily Dickinson's best poems in here, so it gives you like a really good modge podge of like different stuff that she's written. And it's sort of like, I don't know what it is about fall, but it just gives you that sort of like want to like read poetry and like curl up with like a little blanket and a sweater and like drink like some hot cider or something like that. Like if you're a cottagecore person, you know what I'm talking about, because I am a wannabe cottagecore person myself, even though I'm in California and I don't have fall and I don't have a cottage, and it's like 100 degrees outside and I can't even wear a sweater. And yet when I read this, I feel like I'm teleported into like a little cottage with like reading my poetry and drinking my cider, okay? I love Emily Dickinson because she's so weird. Like she's just like, all of her poems, it's almost like a puzzle. Like each poem is like a little puzzle that you have to sort of like dissect and think about, like, what does she mean by this? And the more that you think about it, the more interesting the poem gets. Like a more simple, easy one here. Let me read this for you. My cocoon tightens, colors tease, I'm feeling for the air. A dim capacity for wings degrades the dress I wear. A power of butterfly must be the aptitude to fly. Meadows of majesty concedes in easy sweeps of sky. So I must baffle at the hint and cipher at the sign, and make much blunder if at last I take the clue divine. Oh, like so beautiful, and like it's just beautiful to read. I don't know. They're also good for like if you're in the toilet and you're just kind of like. So I definitely recommend checking out this book, or just reading any kind of poetry. Any kind of poetry at all is good. The next book that I have is The Night Circus. This book is super good, okay? It literally has everything I love. It has the circus, which I'm obsessed with. Anything that has to do with the circus, I am there, okay? It's like creepy. It has like that creepy, like dark vibe to it. It has magic. It has like a really good love story. It has like amazing, like eclectic characters. It's like, yes, this is like me as a book. I'm kind of mad that I didn't read it. And the only thing bad about this book is kind of the ending, because I feel like it gets a little muddled at the end, but it doesn't even matter, because it's just like the descriptions in this book and the way it's written is so beautiful. My favorite thing about this book is that they have like some passages where they're it's like whole chapters that are dedicated to being written. So if it's like you're in the perspective of exploring this like dark circus, walking through the circus, and you see like the dark crunching leaves, and like you smell the smell of like you know, kettled corn, and you're eating like a hot spiced you know, caramel apple, and like you see the acrobats like flying in the sky, and it's just like so cool. It literally feels like you're there. Okay, the other cool thing about this book is, like I said, the romance is really good. There's Margot and Celia, who are like battling magicians, and it's sort of like they've known each other since they were children, and they were both orphans, and then they were sort of like raised to have to battle against each other. It's like a Romeo and Juliet kind of situation, and it's like, even though they're in love, they have to battle each other, and who's gonna win and be like the best magician of all. And then the whole time they're like they have like jobs at the circus, and it's like there's all these really cool characters. There's like these two little red-headed twins that are like born at the circus, and they do like these cool acrobatic acts, and they're always like running around causing mischief. And there's like it's just so good. Like there's just, if you love the circus, if you love like creepy books, if you love like old trains, and you love like old vintage clocks, and just like, I don't know, anything like that, you're gonna love this book. Okay, promise me you'll read it. It's really good, even though the ending is kind of like, just forget about that. Okay, and I really think they should make this into a movie too. It's like a really random thought, but we have Scary Stories for Young Foxes. This book is super good. I've never heard anyone talk about this book before, but I'm really surprised. I think maybe it's because the author is sort of, he seems like an up-and-coming author. His name is Christian McKay Heidecker. I was just like exploring my Barnes & Noble and happened to stumble upon this, and I'm so happy I did, because it's so good. It's sort of like, I don't know what to like compare this to. It's sort of like, if you guys have read Aesop's fables, they're sort of like those fables that have the animals in them that are supposed to be like teaching a lesson. The animals are kind of sort of like people. They're like anthropomorphic, where they have like their own feelings and they talk and all that stuff. This book is like that, only creepy. So if you take like Coraline by Neil Gaiman and mix it with like Aesop's fables, okay, so just imagine that. I don't know how else to, it's sort of like one of those stories where there's like multiple plot lines that all sort of come together in the end and sort of create one story. So it almost feels like a short stories in the beginning, but it's not. It's just like one long story. It has like some really cool characters. It has like some really creepy things that kind of go down. If I read this at night, which I recommend reading this like at nighttime, kind of like dark, with just like a nightlight on, and it actually is pretty scary. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think I get scared easily, but this, it's just like, if you want to kind of creep yourself out and just have like a, you know, little cider and just like get a little creeped out, this is perfect for that. So in the beginning, there's like these little foxes that basically, they go over into the forest to like this old fox's creepy lair, who's like, he's like this, I mean, she's like this storyteller. And so the little foxes are like, oh, tell us a scary story. And she's like, are you sure they're not going to be too scary for you, basically? So they're like, yeah. So she tells them these scary stories, and sort of one by one, the little foxes get too scared and they leave back home to their mother. And there's like sort of like one little fox that stays until the very end. And it's so good. And the stories themselves, like I said, they all connect at the end. But they have like some dark stuff in here, honestly. There's like this lady who, she literally tries to capture foxes, like little foxes, what's it called, like gut them and then like stuff them and, you know, sew fake like eyeballs and just sort of like have them stuffed, which is really scary. The way that they describe it is very creepy. This book, it's by this new author, Christian McKay Heidecker. I think I already said that, but I just wanted to shout him out one more time because this book is so good. So if you like creepy things, if you like animals that talk, you gotta read this, okay? It also has fall like vibes. They're in the forest. It's just like, please read this book, okay? Thank you. That's all I have to say. Last but not least, I have The Forest of Hands and Teeth by Carrie Ryan. So this author is super good. She has this other series, which is sort of like more of a futuristic, like Hunger Games-y vibe sort of a series, which is called The Uglies. I also recommend reading that. I think I might do a video just about that series because it's really good. But this is The Forest of Hands and Teeth is the first book of the series, I think, or it's like a prequel. I've read them all out of order, so I think there's 3 books total. This one is the first one. The second one is called The Dead Toss Waves. So this book is sort of like takes place in the forest and it feels very like fall vibes. The Dead Toss Waves sort of takes place by the beach and like a lighthouse, and it's like very like summery. So this is like, if you like zombies and you want to read zombies during the fall, read this. If you want zombies in the summer, read the other one, which is The Dead Toss Waves. They're both amazing. This book, I don't really want to spoil anything. I kind of like don't even want to tell you much about it because I feel like this is just one of those books where just, if you like zombies, dive in, read this book. It's a YA, but it's not cheesy. I feel like some YAs can border on the line of being like too cheesy or like too focused on the romance or something. No, this is a scary book, okay? It is scary, it is zombies, and it is written in a way where it feels like a movie. Like, you know those books that are written and it's almost like you forget that you're reading a book. It feels like you're watching a film. That's what this is. The characters are really good. They're not stupid. I feel like it's not one of those scary books where it's like everybody's dumb. Like, no. There is some like romances and things like that, but it's like so well written that it's like believable and it's just so good. So I don't want to give anything away here, okay? All I can say is, if you love zombies, if you like The Walking Dead Season 1, Forever We Stand, you need to read this book, okay? Please. And check out The Uglies too, because it's really good. This author, Carrie Ryan, she's amazing. So yeah, that's the last book. That's all I have for you guys. Check out these books. They're all really good depending on like what you're looking for. I'm the kind of person that loves spooky books all year long. So if you have any recommendations for creepy books that I should read, leave it in the comments down below. I hope you guys have an amazing Halloween. Again, thank you to Darling Dusty for recommending me some of her books that she really loves to read during October. I hope you guys love my October reads. Have a lot of candy tonight. Just have a great time, stay safe, and read some books.